Bruce Lee is remembered for his blazing fast punches and kicks. What many don't know is he had legit grappling. In this video, we'll go over 5 examples that prove it, and each example gets progressively more impressive. Most martial artists at the time were stuck in the dogma of their style and too afraid to venture outside of its reach. Bruce Lee's philosophy, the style of no style, was all about true fighting ability. Nothing else mattered. So he went beyond Kung Fu.
What is the highest technique you hope to achieve?
To have no technique.
There's even a section in his book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, dedicated to takedowns and submissions. And here's what former Olympic gold medalist Hayward Nishioka had to say about Bruce Lee's judo skills.
Well, he knew all of the techniques. He knew what an osotogari was. He knew what a ippon seonage was. He would name them. And he was quite good at it.
With the introduction out of the way, let's get right to example number 1, which is the flying scissors sweep against Han at the end of Enter the Dragon. This is a judo move. It's a favorite of jiu-jitsu ace Gary Tonin. Oh! And it's also how Ryo Chonin submitted Anderson Silva.
Right leg inside out.
Take away the lead.
Oh, look at this!
Whoa, this is good! Unbelievable!
You can only see this in demonstrations, you know. This guy just does
Look
it for
at
real.
How about a favorite of current UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev, the arm triangle choke, a very elementary and high percentage submission in the UFC and in jiu-jitsu. Bruce Lee did it back in the day in Game of Death against the giant Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And when that didn't work, he did another classic, the bulldog choke. Not as high percentage, but off the top of my head, I can remember Carlos Newton and, controversially, Ben Askren getting a finish with this one. Now we have another scene from Enter the Dragon. In the beginning of the movie, Bruce Lee is taking part in a mixed rules fight. Despite the goofy gloves and the speedos, he puts his opponent in a rear crucifix. And this is not a common position even in modern MMA. Jiu-jitsu, it's a little bit more common, but here is Bruce Lee doing it in the 70s. Bruce used classic wrestling takedowns like singles and double legs in The Way of the Dragon and Game of Death, and in true Bruce Lee fashion, he often mixed in his grappling with a nut shot or two. However, it's judo that seems to be his main source of grappling knowledge. We know he trained with Jean LaBelle as the story goes now, but before that he was also enrolled in college judo classes.
Bruh.
That brings us to number 1, the standing arm in guillotine at the end of The Way of the Dragon in the epic final battle between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris in the Roman Coliseum. We see standing guillotines all the time in MMA. They're a bit harder to finish with the arm in, and I think Bruce broke his neck, which is not usually how we see them finished anyway. If you guys want to say these are just movies, these guys aren't legit, remember that Chuck Norris goes on to get a jiu-jitsu black belt from the Machado brothers and is by all means a legitimate grappler. If Bruce Lee didn't die so young, I have no doubt he would have been a part of the grappling revolution in his own right and could have earned a black belt. He definitely had the base for it. Bruce Lee was way ahead of his time, and he inspired a generation of martial artists to forget about style and focus on what works. That's why, to this day, he's considered by many to be the godfather of MMA. Let me know what you think about Bruce Lee's grappling in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends and subscribe for more. Until next time, I'm Checkmate MMA signing out. Peace.